I think the internet still has a lot of innovation waiting to be discovered. We don't necessarily need new technologies, we need new ideas. So I've been working on the platform to change things up a bit. If you're watching this, congratulations on being one of the early interested viewers on what can potentially be the next platform to share your ideas, manage your projects, or simply work on your business online. This is the third recap on what has happened in the project. If you're new, I highly recommend watching the previous ones to get up to speed, and for the rest, let's get into it. As always, we will dive a bit into what has changed in the platform. I'll keep it simple and I won't get into the countless hours of debugging and fixing things. First of all, we are getting ready for a bigger user base. That means allowing them to create accounts with special codes that may or may not have already been released in the wild, and making sure the authentication is secured with login, registration, and relogin. Also, the onboarding of new users is important to make them understand what Slatesource is about. So I created a new starting page that shows up every first visits on Slatesource.com. As you can see, the focus is now on showing Slate examples. That's so users can directly relate to the Slate and understand how they can use it. For example, as we saw in the previous recap, you can have a Slate for setting up a new freshwater shrimp tank. Well, if anyone is interested in animals or pets in general and they see that Slate, they can already relate how they can use it for another species or another tutorial. For Slates, I added some parameters to extend their flexibility. So we can see here all the options that is available. First, you can make a Slate private and public. That basically explains itself. If it's private, no one can see it except the members of the Slate. And if it's public, everyone can see it. Then you can also add a Slate to your favorites. This will highlight it in the different UIs. Then you can also index a Slate or hide it. This means that if it's indexed, it will appear if someone searched for it. But if it's not indexed, you can only access it if you have the link to it. Then we have safe for work, non-safe for work. That's to limit the visibility. For example, I created a Slate for my broken leg recovery journey and I put it non-safe for work so that it blurs the image and doesn't impact viewers if they're looking for that. And then you have standalone template. This means that if it's a template, it can be cloned by other users, and basically it means you allow people to copy and paste what you worked on your Slate for them to use for their own personal use or other usage. And that's it. Last but definitely not least, I integrated an internal tab conventions and guidelines so that data management for tab is much more controlled and shared. It sounds a bit fancy, but it's pretty simple. For example, it's how the way the data is synchronized to the server from the client, and also how fast we can create new tabs from the design to the technical implementation. So I still need to apply those guidelines to all the tabs and iterate over them to make sure they fit for all use cases, but the hardest part is done. Now, some people have been asking for examples, so I created a page for generating use cases. So you simply... What? Hey, Henry, get out of here. I'm showcasing the use case Alright, fine, you can use it. With the new welcome page and homepage, I need to create some example slates to show the world the power of Slatesource. So for that I decided to try and create at least 3 slates per main category, and that's 48 slates I need to create. It's more work than I expected, but I think it's also a good exercise for me to really validate the prototype and make sure this platform is actually useful. So I already have my ideas on what to do for each category, but feel free to let me know if you have any. I already created a few for some specific use case, and it seems like it could help a lot of people once they know how to use Slatesource. Here's a few examples, just sit back and relax. So, community-wise, things have been a bit slow. I haven't really spent a lot of time on it, and that's also not my strongest suit. I have plans for some events on Discord and podcast IDs, but right now I've been focused on making progress on the platform. If you are interested, I could use some help organizing some things and reaching out to people to bring them in the project. So let me know if someone wants to join the team to help me out with that. And else, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.